You don't hate your family. You're not angry at them. And yet, something feels far away. You sit with them. You talk. You laugh when expected. But inside, there's a quiet distance you can't explain. It feels like you're watching yourself play a role. Like you're present in body, but not fully there in mind. As if a thin glass wall separates you from people who once felt close. And the strangest part is this. You feel guilty for feeling this way because nothing bad enough happened to justify it. So you stay silent, and the distance grows. What you're experiencing isn't coldness. It's not a lack of love. It's something much quieter. It's emotional disconnection, not from them, from parts of yourself. When this starts, the mind doesn't shout. It slowly retreats. You stop sharing certain thoughts because they feel too heavy or too strange, or like no one would really understand. You begin editing yourself, softening opinions, hiding reactions, keeping the peace. Over time, your inner world becomes private, not because you chose isolation, but because being fully seen started to feel unsafe. So you learn to be agreeable instead of honest, polite instead of real, present instead of connected. From the outside, nothing looks wrong. But inside, something essential is missing. In daily life, this shows up in small moments. Family dinners feel longer than they should. You scroll your phone even when conversation is happening. You feel tired after being around them, but not because of effort, because of restraint. You want to leave, but you don't know why. You want closeness, but it feels awkward when it's offered. Hugs feel unfamiliar. Questions feel intrusive. Sometimes you feel more understood by strangers, or by people online, or by silence. And that confuses you. You wonder how you can feel lonely in a room full of people who know your history. The truth is, familiarity doesn't guarantee emotional safety. At some point in your life, you learned that certain feelings were inconvenient, too sensitive, too dramatic, too much. So you adapted. You became the version of yourself that fits, not the version that feels. This wasn't a conscious choice. It was survival. When emotional needs aren't met, the mind doesn't rebel. It withdraws. And withdrawal feels like distance. Distance from others. Distance from your own emotions. Distance from the child version of you that once wanted to be understood without explaining. That's why family gatherings can feel strangely empty. Not because love isn't there, but because expression stopped being safe a long time ago. And when you can't express freely, closeness feels exhausting. Here's something important. Feeling distant doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care, but you don't feel held. Your mind learned to stay alert, to stay controlled, to stay guarded. And guarded minds don't relax into connection. They observe it. This distance isn't a flaw in you. It's a response. A response to moments when you needed understanding and received correction. When you needed curiosity and received judgment. When you needed presence and received dismissal. Even small moments matter, especially repeated ones. So your system adapted by pulling back emotionally, not dramatically, quietly. Now, years later, the habit remains, even when the danger is gone. And that creates confusion, because part of you wants closeness, and another part feels safer without it. This inner conflict is heavy. It makes you feel broken. It makes you question yourself. But nothing is broken. You're just protecting an inner world that once felt unseen. Here's the reframe. Distance is not rejection. It's unprocessed experience. Your mind is holding memories it never had space to express, feelings that were postponed, reactions that were swallowed. Until those parts feel acknowledged, closeness will feel foreign. Not wrong, just unfamiliar. And healing doesn't start with forcing connection. It starts with understanding your withdrawal, with asking yourself quietly, what part of me learned to disappear? Not to blame anyone, not to reopen old wounds, but to recognize what shaped you. Because clarity creates choice, and choice creates softness. You don't need to suddenly feel close. You don't need to confront anyone. You don't need to explain yourself. Sometimes, the most honest step is simply noticing the distance without judging it, letting it exist, listening to what it protects. Connection isn't rebuilt by effort. It's rebuilt by safety, and safety begins inside. One day, without forcing it, you may feel a small shift, a moment of warmth, a sentence you don't filter, a feeling you don't hide, and that's enough. Because distance doesn't mean you're lost. It means there's a part of you still waiting to be met.